Well, hello, Megan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Erica. It's great to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you and talk all about your very interesting journey here on YouTube. So why don't we get started with you sharing with people what inspired you to start a YouTube channel and when exactly that was, and a little bit about your journey, and then we'll dig in deep as we go along.
Sure. So my channel is Portable Professional, and it's not a travel vlog, but it's very straight to the point travel tips and hacks. In terms of video and storytelling, it's always something that I've loved to do and been passionate about, but I never really felt like I had something to talk about. It wasn't until I was graduating university that I ended up with some crazy travel opportunities. I was in Uganda researching guerrilla tourism, and then I won this scholarship that sent me around the world for the summer, where I was able to visit all of these emerging hubs. So in the Emirates airline headquarters in Dubai, these extreme experiences that not many people had. And that kind of gave me the confidence to travel solo and realize that I do know more about this than I give myself credit for. From there, I ended up working remotely for the following 5 years from my laptop from all these different digital nomad hotspots around the world. And while I was there, I was noticing that there's so many tech bros that are doing this digital nomad lifestyle, but not very many solo women. And I wasn't able to find influencers or people speaking about it online where I could really see myself. And that's when I finally thought, I do have an interesting angle. I do have the experience. I have something that is worthy in my mind to be speaking about. And that's what inspired the channel all the way back in 2019.
Wow, that's really cool. So then you got started with your channel. You already had obviously a established niche, as you were living it, which is so cool. So then what was the turning point for your channel of it starting off as something sounds like you were kind of doing it, I don't know, would you say a hobby, or what was kind of your intention at the beginning?
So back in 2019, when I was just getting started with the channel, it was more of a fun way to share. It was a creative outlet. And I always thought that somewhere in the future, it could be something. But it wasn't until my first video went, it didn't even go viral, but it got 1,000 views in the first 24 hours. And it got my channel monetized very quickly. So it's monetized within a couple months of just starting on YouTube. And I feel like that first $100 paycheck from YouTube was more important than any paycheck I have ever received in my life. It was just a validation that, wow, this could be something. This could grow into something.
Yeah. So yeah. What did you do then next to kind of propel that?
Well, over 2019, I would be doing a lot of more vlog style, longer videos, focusing on that digital nomad content, which, if anyone isn't aware, that's working remotely from different places around the world. So I was living in countries like Thailand and in cities like Chiang Mai, where there would be many remote workers all gathered together. I was creating content more around that instead of diving into the video that went viral, which was 50 flight tips and hacks, which is essentially what my channel has become today. So I was doing that through 2019, but then 2020 happened, and suddenly it was not okay to talk about travel. So it just felt like I was gaining a bit of momentum, still doing it as a hobby, still not really sure what my niche was, still not making a lot of money from it. Then 2020 hit, and I became completely inconsistent. It just felt wrong to talk about travel. No one was looking up travel content. So I would post a few videos, but maybe one a month. It wasn't until 2022, as the pandemic was tying up, that everything changed.
Wow. Yeah, that's like a travel channel during the pandemic would not have been. I remember.
No.
Yeah. I remember that, and having a few travel people in my boot camp and stuff. And it's just like, it's tough. That was not an easy. So what did you do in that 2 years? Did you just put a pause on your channel, or you said you just uploaded periodically?
I uploaded periodically, but I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't excited about the content I was putting out. I just had so much resistance with every video. I didn't know how to put an angle on this that was going to be appropriate. I would do different updates on travel, but none of those videos are evergreen, so they didn't serve the channel for very long. And also through the pandemic, like many others, I was living alone. I was completely isolated. I'm still working full time now and through all of this as well outside of YouTube. And I was extremely burnt out. a little bit depressed. It was just a very rough time and there was no end to it. I didn't have my creative outlet. I didn't have my friends. I didn't have my routines. And living in Ottawa, Canada as well, for context, we didn't even open up gyms until 2022. Like we were locked down for a very long time. So it was just an extremely difficult period. The channel maybe grew to around 20K through that time period from 2019 to 2022 with the inconsistent uploads. But then when it was early 2022 and borders were finally opening back up, I actually moved down to Mexico for my first remote work nomadic trip since the pandemic. And I ended up living there for 4 months. And it was in that period that I was pulling myself out of a bit of this depression, still working full time, but almost needing a break. With my channel, something I always did was if I'm going to post a video, I need to have the right affiliates with it. I need to lock in the best sponsorship. I need to create this title and A/B test this thumbnail. And I was doing all of the things. So every time I went to make a video, it felt like such a big undertaking. And that's at that point I realized I can't do this anymore. So I need to go to the 80-20 rule. And that led me to see that the most important thing I could possibly be doing was consistently posting a video every single week and getting back into that habit and stopping everything else. And then if I wasn't able to do that, then I would quit YouTube altogether. Because trying to do all of it, I was burnt out, I wasn't enjoying it, and I wasn't putting out any content because I put so much pressure on every single video.
Yeah, that's very difficult to do when you have all that pressure. And then if it doesn't, the worst is like you putting a lot of pressure, and then if it doesn't perform, then then it becomes a total like mind game of like trying to continue on and be consistent. And a lot of people that stops them from being consistent because then you know there's all this pressure and it's not performing well. And so then okay, you mentioned that, and you kind of jumped into it a little bit, that 2022 was a game changer for you. Obviously, travel resumed again. The pandemic, kind of resolved or started to resolve. And it sounds like, moving to, the rules and things from Canada to Mexico were very different. So I imagine you had some more freedom there in Mexico, which is nice. So what happened in 2022 that was such a game changer for your channel? Was there anything specific?
I think the most specific thing that was the catalyst to the growth that I had was realizing that I actually could be consistent. So it was the first week after deciding this, where it was either I post a video every Sunday or I quit, and making that rule. The night leading into the weekend, a series of pretty horrific things happened in Mexico. There was a man shot in the head just a block away from me getting into his vehicle. There was an explosion at one of the restaurants that I had just been to as well. And there were foreigners that had died there too, as well as a couple locals. And then a truck smashed into my building and we were out of power and water on our entire block for what ended up being a 48-hour period. So this happened on a Friday night and I had to get up.
Wait, that all happened on a Friday night?
Yes. So going to bed Friday night, there's no power, no water.
Where in Mexico were you?
The things that had,
oh my God.
In Playa del Carmen.
Oh, I know exactly. My husband and I had our honeymoon there. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I think, oh no, I don't know if I heard about that explosion. I think I'd heard a few things happening. Well, anyways, wow. Okay. All happening on a Friday night in like a resort town in Mexico. Yeah. It's a nice area.
Exactly. So I did not go to bed that Friday night with the power out, the water out, and tons of just construction trying to get things back up and running. I was awake that night, but I knew the next morning I would need to film the video, upload it, get everything ready to go because I was actually catching a flight to Dubai that evening for another conference. And I realized, wow, I haven't slept all night. I look like crap. I feel like crap. I'm not getting this video out this week. So I guess I'm quitting YouTube. And it was like this visceral reaction. And I just got up and grabbed my camera and was like, it doesn't matter what I film. I'm putting something out because quitting, I can't even imagine that being the reality.
So right.
This taught me, no, not at all. This just taught me that it doesn't matter what the circumstance is. I can put out one half decent video every single week. And that ended up being an amazing performing video, just an off the cuff And it gave me the confidence that I know what I'm talking about. I know who I'm speaking to, and I can do it. And from there, I stopped being a perfectionist. I stopped doing everything else. I stopped trying to monetize the channel. And I just focused on putting one video out each week. And that started to get traction, which snowballed. And then I started adding things in, like looking through my analytics, and then slowly starting to monetize in different ways, which resulted in 2022 earning me over $100,000 from the channel. And it was all based on that one decision to be consistent.
Wow. Yeah, because you had gone through a period of time where you weren't, and you were just holding on for dear life through the pandemic, talking about travel. And then now you had that commitment. There with YouTube, I always say it's commitment. You have to
Mm-hmm.
commit. And so it sounded like you were busy also with a full-time job, traveling yourself. So how were you able to stick to that commitment every single week and ensure that you had that video up? What did your schedule look like, or what did you do to make sure that you stuck with that?
Mm-hmm. I definitely got into time batching. So I would block off my most productive hours before I started working my full time job. So that would usually look from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. 3 times a week. And then something else is that with YouTube, there are so many shiny objects. Once you get, a few thousand subscribers, you'll receive many, or you probably will receive many requests for sponsorships, different opportunities. YouTube always comes out with new features and new things that you can do. And I just saw all of those as distractions. And if I didn't have the video for the weekend filmed, ready to go, and then the next 3 videos also filmed and ready to go, I wasn't allowing myself to even entertain the idea of any of those other shiny objects. Everything was about getting these videos out and getting a catalog of content ready to go in advance. So that's something that I found extremely helpful, because sometimes it's easier to play with your YouTube banner and change your icon and do all of those things than it is to sit down and script a half decent video.
Oh my God, you're just preaching to the choir here, because I feel as if so many people focus on things that do not make any difference in the success of your.
Mm-hmm.
The banner is one of them, like the name of the channel, the branding, all these things that I'm like, it doesn't matter. And same thing with, doing things other than YouTube videos, like, wanting to grow an Instagram so that it helps them grow their YouTube. I'm like, why would you do that? I always say,
Mm-hmm.
like, just create content. And people, I think, label themselves as a perfectionist, thinking it's a good thing. And I'm like, no, it's not a good thing, because it's a distraction. Um, it's basically a fear of messing up, but it's like you just have to upload.
Mm-hmm.
What did you, was there anything else you do as far as focusing on your channel? Were there things that you gave up or things that you stopped doing to just focus on YouTube?
Yes, so many things. So even to this day, my website is not good. um, so that, as well as Instagram, that was something else. I had always heard it takes a channel to build a channel. So I was building my Instagram up with travel content as well, and it reached around 7,000
Yeah.
followers on there. But it also was something that I just didn't enjoy doing. The style of my channel was very strategic, where I sit down in front of the camera and I share travel tips and hacks straight to the point, no fluff, because I do not like being on a trip and having my phone up and having my camera up and bringing all the equipment and trying to capture the content. It completely took away from it. So it wouldn't have been sustainable. So I stopped trying to be that person. I stopped trying to do it on Instagram with stories, do it live, because I didn't enjoy it. And that's not my strength. Same with the videography and photography side of travel. It's no, you don't come to my channel for the visual appeal of it in the tips and hacks. So yeah, I stopped trying to be it all.
Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. I always think it's crazy when people think they have to be on other platforms to grow YouTube. I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
people, YouTube will grow YouTube. And and that's interesting. So you're a travel channel, but you don't consider yourself at all a travel vlogger or anything like that, because you want to stay in the moment while you're traveling. So it sounds like your focus is just on the tips and the hacks.
Exactly.
Hmm. And then did you have that idea from the start, or did that evolve based on your own, I guess, like you said, interests and desires, or also with how the audience responded?
It evolved based on my own interests. Again, at the beginning, I thought that I would need to be that type of travel vlogger because that's what I had seen. So maybe it's just the way the algorithm was feeding me content, but I didn't see very many travel creators that were doing the tips and hacks content. It was very in the field content, which was great for them. It was working for them, but it just wasn't me. So there was that. And then once I was consistent with posting my videos too, I dove into my analytics more and I looked at a few key metrics that I hadn't been looking at previously. And one of them was subscribers per video. Because I think that the videos that bring in the most subscribers, those are your people. Those are the ones that see your content and it's not just a one off. They enjoy what you have. They've probably seen several videos. So I would filter by video with that. And I was finding the ones that did the best were those that were just sitting down in front of the camera, not adding any fluff, adding a little bit of my quirky personality, potentially showing my puppy in the room too. But it was very much so, this is how you do it, step by step by step. And they were bringing in the subscribers. They were getting the most watch time. They had the highest audience retention, which was another metric that I really, really focused on. So it was what I wanted to do. And by leaning into that fully, it was also attracting the audience that enjoyed that content.
Yeah, that's great. You were working and looking at the analytics and studying that really well, help you figure out what's going on. And it's great for you that it
Mhm.
aligned with what you actually wanted to be doing anyways, because I find that, because I work with a lot of creators and some people absolutely love the sharing and the vlogging and have the camera out. And
Mhm.
other people don't, right? They want to be in the moment and they don't want that. So it's like you have to create a channel that's sustainable, because if you're, like you said, being somebody that you're not, it's not sustainable. It's exhausting.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about the monetization of your channel, because you're under 100,000 still. I think you're at relatively 70,000 subscribers. And then last year, 2022, you had made over $100,000 from, a relatively small channel. So how were you able to make that happen exactly?
Mhm. So this surprised me. Again, it was with making that decision to be consistent and growing. I realized that I had tried from 2019 to 2022 to hack monetization and to come up with all these different ways that I could be earning little bits. And I was spending my time going through sponsorship emails and negotiating with this Chinese company for an item that I'd never heard of or used in my life, whether they would pay me $200 or $225 for this 60-second segment. And then when I would go through my audience attention on videos as well, I would see any sponsored segments were losing audience and it was not
Mm-hmm.
worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It would show that dip.
Mm-hmm.
So I just realized this is not worth the time. I don't want to ruin my name either with anything that I'm promoting that I don't actually believe in. So I'm going to stop doing those. I also had the strategy of every single affiliate offer I could possibly find after Googling highest paid affiliate programs.
Yeah.
All of those links were on all of my videos. None of them were getting any traction. So I took a completely different approach. With sponsorships, I got ruthless. I thought only if I see an email from a sponsor that is one that I recognize and a tool or item or service that I actually use, will I even entertain the idea. But I also set extremely high rates where I thought only if they pay me, for example, $3,000 for this 30-second integration, would it be worth that slight dip in audience retention? There were all kinds of parameters that I put in place. I also decided I would only work with sponsors that were interested in locking in for repeat videos as well. Better for the audience, better for my consistency. And then it takes away from that negotiation period and proving yourself. I used tracking links for any affiliate offers that I wanted to test. So I would only put a few in each video so that it wasn't a mess of affiliate links. They were all with Bitly as well. So then I would track those, see which ones were performing well, and then go back to any of the affiliates and be like, look, these are the number of clicks I can see from the analytics you provided. These are the number of sales. And I would negotiate my affiliate rates. So I worked with very few affiliate partners, and then very few sponsorship partners, but I made all of them repeat All of them were negotiated, and all of them were high value where I really felt like it was worth it.
Wow.
So casting a much smaller net, but focusing on what works and diving deeper and deeper. So for example, there's one affiliate offer that I have that still to this day, I don't even promote it in my videos. And it earns me close to $3,000 a month from this one offer. And it's just in my video descriptions. So doubling down on that and removing things even like Patreon. So I had a Patreon channel membership, but it would send people off of the channel and it would distract from the other links in my channel, the links that were earning me money or the links that were growing my email list, which is, is extremely important and a great way that you can monetize, but also just own your own audience list. So I removed any affiliate links that were not working and anything that would send someone off the YouTube channel.
Wow, I love all that. I love how you use the word ruthless. Like that's, and so many creators I feel like are afraid to do that, especially with brands. They're just so excited to get that opportunity. And so what challenges did you experience when you made that decision when it came to brands? Because I'm sure not all the brands are like, sure, I'll pay you this, or yeah, I'll repeat business. So, because they have their own objectives and goals. So what challenges did you experience with that, and how did you overcome that to get what you wanted?
Yeah, so there were definitely objections. I would make sure that I would point out like why this video is going to be a massive success for you and a win for me and a win for the audience. So I would bullet point exactly specific to that sponsor that I wanted to work with. I wasn't sending off just my media kit in a generic email. It was very specific, like I want to work with you. This is why this is going to be a success. This is how I work with partners. And then I was fully okay with walking away from any deal if they did not agree. I believed in the value of my recommendation at this point. Also, my channel is educational. So I would point things out like some of those unique selling points. People are not coming to me just to laugh. They are coming to me for my advice and my recommendations. That adds a whole nother element of power to any sponsorship deal that a partner wants to work with me on. So I would look for any of those unique points, make an offer that is very specific to that partner, and then be fully okay to walk away if they didn't agree. And I think something that helped me with that is that I still have my full-time income on a job that I'm working outside of this. So there was never an element of desperation. I knew that there was going to be another sponsor in the future. It was okay to let this one go. And I think that's what actually made it not challenging at all to be so ruthless with this, because I was fully okay if they said nope or not at this time.
Yeah, and what do you think about the brands, or what do you think was it that you did to eventually get what you wanted with a lot of these brands?
Holding my ground. They would send back and say, we can't do this, or we don't have that type of budget. This is the most we can offer you. And I would respond, never burning any bridges, always very polite, like, that's too bad to hear. Hope we can work together in the future. Absolutely love what you're doing with XYZ, and would end it. When you send an email like that and you hold your ground and you wait a few days, or even the next time around, the next month or the next quarter when they're doing their next round of sponsorships, they know you, they respect you. You were professional throughout the whole experience. You listed out what those the return on investment would be. I would also provide statistics from other sponsorships. Again, I always had tracking links. Even if they gave me a sponsored link, I would turn it into a tracking link.
Smart, really smart.
So I just truly believe in the value of a sponsorship on my channel when it's with a brand that I believe in. I'm a natural brand ambassador. I love telling everyone about the things that I love.
Yeah.
So it just was, good to work with and held my ground, and then would wait and see what would happen. And often they would come back.
Yeah. Because sometimes they won't, which is fine. But sometimes they don't. And then they do later on, like you said. And then you'll say, sometimes they'll come back and be like, okay, fine. Like they'll be like, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. That's a good feeling. And I also think that once you experience that, I think, a lot of creators aren't even willing to like put themselves out there and even have that, give themselves the possibility of that experience. But like once you experience that and stand in your ground and then it actually working, it gives you the confidence to continue doing it again and again and again. Did you feel that way?
Oh, exactly. That's hitting the nail on the head. I got the confidence to do it. The first time I did it, it was crazy. I was quoting like an amount that was crazy to me, 10 times what I'd ever quoted in the past, because I thought sponsorships damage my channel. I like this brand, but I don't really want to be on a company's under their direction. I liked having full creative control. When you work with a sponsor, it's almost like having a boss. It's a lot of extra work, or it can be, to make sure, depending on the brand, it doesn't always have to be, to make sure that what you're creating is in line with what they want, that they're going to be happy. Sometimes you need to refilm segments, which can really throw you off. If you have a full video filmed, you can't just refilm it in a different outfit on a different day. You have to refilm the entire thing. So there were lots of rules that go around working with sponsors too. So when I quoted a very high amount, and I thought this is the only amount that would be worth it to me to do this, and then getting a yes right at the beginning, that was like such an ego boost. Like, whoa, maybe I didn't go high enough,
Yeah.
And from there, slowly creep on up, and started adding more of those rules in place, like with repeat sponsors only. And then I knew with those rules, I didn't need 4 a month. I needed 1. One. And then knowing that 2 months later, I was doing another video with them. So narrowing it down makes it so much easier for the creator, because you don't have to learn a new product, a new company to promote them. And it's also much more pleasant for the audience, because they know, oh, Megan works with XYZ company and she talks about them, and this is the luggage that she uses, as opposed to a different luggage brand every month.
Yeah, that's such good advice. All that about working with brands and standing your ground. I think that's amazing. Do you have any of these questions or concerns about your YouTube channel? Did I pick the right niche? Should I be focusing on this audience for my channel? What kind of videos should I create that will attract a good, loyal audience? Why am I growing so slow? I'm so overwhelmed with YouTube, and I don't know if what I'm doing is the right thing to do to grow. Let me tell you, you are not alone. Those are some of the questions I get asked most often as a YouTube strategist and coach for the last 7 years. And that is why I created my all-new Audience Attraction System mini course. The Audience Attraction System is based off of my experience coaching hundreds of YouTubers, many of which have grown tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers and attracted millions upon millions of views. I took the system that I use with my coaching clients and packaged it into the Audience Attraction System so that you now have access to this incredible action plan at an affordable price. I want to give you the system you need to skyrocket your YouTube channel and start seeing results ASAP. Whether you're ready to blow up and scale the YouTube channel you already have, or you're just getting started but want to start seeing YouTube growth yesterday. The Audience Attraction System is a perfect fit for you. You can learn more about it by going to erikavieira.net/YAAS. Again, that is erikavieira.net/YAAS. I hope to see you on the inside. So now we're heading into the second half of the interview, and that's where I ask you the same questions that I've asked everyone that's come on the show. You ready for that?
I am.
Okay, awesome. So the first question is, what is your number one struggle with YouTube?
Okay. My number one struggle with YouTube, I think it's still putting my heart and soul into a video, and then that video not performing well. That's probably the biggest for me. And that can work both ways, where there's like that video I filmed in Mexico where I did not put my heart and soul into it. I filmed it on the fly that morning. It went up and it performed very well. Then there are other videos that I get so excited about, and I spend so long filming and planning it and working with the editor and tweaking all these things, and it just completely flops. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much you change the title or the thumbnail on it. It's just not a video that's going to perform for you. So I find that very difficult, and I just had to stop taking it as a reflection on myself. I really try to treat the channel as an experiment as much as possible. So I'll try this type of content. I'll try this type of thumbnail. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, okay, now I know. So for the next video, I'll try this instead. If that works, okay, lean into this. So yes, not taking things personally, treating it as an experiment has helped me with that struggle, but it's still always hard.
I think YouTube is one big experiment. You have to be tweaking and changing things. And I think a lot of people allow the disappointment of, say, one video to bleed
Mhm.
into, their work for the next one, or it starts to kind of mess with their confidence in their head.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, yeah. But I love how you said it takes a mind shift to just say, well, each video is almost like an experiment in a way. You're trying it out
Mhm.
and not put not too much, like too much emotional weight into any video.
Mhm. Yeah.
If you were to start over right now with your YouTube channel, what, if anything, would you do differently?
I would have done what I did in 2022 in 2019. I mean, knowing what I know now, I would have actually probably never started a channel until after the pandemic, going into that. But I mean, that all happened how it did, and I am here today, so I wouldn't change that. But the number one thing is I would throw up, wouldn't change it 6 times a month. And I would just focus on making that one video and going straight into what I enjoyed doing, which was those talking head tips and hacks right from the beginning, instead of trying to be something that I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, and the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What is your favorite video that you've created on your channel?
I have a few, but I think the one that sticks out to me most right now is one that I actually published in November of last year. So just a few months ago now. I guess it's a little while ago now. um, but it was on airline secrets. So I had so much fun making this video. It performed very well too, which was exciting to see after. But it was one of those that was like just fascinating to read all the things that airlines are not necessarily telling us passengers and getting a behind the scenes look at things. My sister is also a pilot, and I grew up in the Air Cadets too. So I was able to get like a bunch of behind the scenes insider knowledge from my own connections. And it was just a lot of fun to put together. And then the performance of it made it more fun.
Oh, that's great.
So it's still one that's doing very well on the channel.
Love that. What is your number one tip for preserving your mental health as a YouTube creator?
Hmm. This is something that I've also definitely struggled with. And sometimes, even with the comments, I want to respond to comments, and maybe it's 1 out of 50 that hurts my feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's the one that I remember, not the 49 others.
Yeah.
So to preserve, yeah, my mental health with this, I I leaned into that idea of treating YouTube as an experiment, treating it that it's critiques on my content as opposed to on me. And that's sometimes hard to separate. And it's a lot easier in theory than in practice, because YouTube is also it's it's your perspective on the topic, even if you're presenting facts. And then it's also multifaceted. So it's a visual platform as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, especially as women, I know you have a lot of women in your audience.
Mm-hmm.
When a woman does something, it's not necessarily about what it is that they're doing or what they're saying. It's more, how does she have the audacity to do this? Or it's a dig on the way it's presented, on your appearance. So if I'm tired one day, I'd put this pressure, like, I really don't want to film today because I know what people are going to say. And I don't want that type of criticism. It's not just about what I'm actually speaking about, it is about me as a person. And creating travel content as well. The ones that would really hurt my feelings would be around this white privileged girl traveling on her parents' money, and what do you know? And you've never had to work a day in your life, like things like this. When I'm fully funding my own travels, I have my own struggles going on, but those assumptions about you, and even though you know they're not true, they still hurt your feelings. And being able to hide behind a screen and just be a comment, people are ruthless. so, so I would ignore those, treat it as an experiment, and just try my best not to take things personally. And then focus on the good comments. But honestly, it's something that I still struggle with. So I don't feel like I have the best advice here. But the benefits of the channel far, far outweigh any of the negatives that have come from it. And in terms of my self esteem and my belief in myself, it's skyrocketed since starting the channel, despite having some negative comments or some negative reactions from people in my life that I was on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, there's that negativity bias that we as humans tend to gravitate towards of, like you said, there could be 50, 100 positive comments, but then there's that one negative, and that's what you're focusing on. So I
Hmm.
know, because like I said, I've worked with YouTubers, and like I feel like so much of what I do and coaching and stuff is, yes, there's strategy, but a lot of it, it's almost this mental game you have to play. And I'll get people saying, "Oh, my God, this video is terrible. I get so many negative comments," and then I'm like, "Okay, well, hold on, let me check it out." And I always know I'm going to look, especially if it's a larger creator, right? So they're getting a lot of comments,
Hmm.
but I look and it's like there's like maybe like five and out of like hundreds of of comments. So it's like but people focus on that, and that's a
Hmm.
real thing, the negativity bias. And I always say there's two ways that you can react to a comment. You can treat it as truth. Whatever this person says, that, like you said, the assumptions, they don't know you.
Hmm.
They don't know, they think they know you because they watch your videos and what you present, but they don't actually know you. And they're giving their ruthless opinion, and you could take that as truth, or you can take it as what it is a jackass on the internet that doesn't know you. And the problem is a lot of people actually will take that as truth, even very successful, confident people. And it's like you said, it's something that you struggle with. It's something that a lot of people struggle with, but
Hmm.
it is kind of one of the price to pay for this success on YouTube. So yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. Have you ever wanted to just give up on your channel? What happened there, and how did you get back on track?
Early 2022. Yeah, it just felt like it was another thing. I'm
Mhm.
like, why am I adding this into my life right now? We are just coming out of the pandemic. Things are opening up. I'm single. I'm in my 20s. I just wanted to go out and start living again and feeling alive. I'm like, why will I want to work for my full time job at my laptop all day and then work on YouTube at night as things are finally opening back up and I can finally start living my life? And just that moment of realizing that I'm actually going to quit YouTube, when I decided if I don't publish today, I'm quitting, it just was so wild to me. I automatically just get up, I grab my camera. I'm like, no way am I quitting on this. This means so much to me. And yeah, getting your why, learning your why. So it was a moment that I wanted to quit, but there was no way I was letting myself do it. It's like something deeper inside of me just knew
Oh,
that this is what I was meant to be doing. This is what I love to do. And I needed to stop looking at it like it's an extra job. It's a privilege to be able to put content out there that anyone can see. Previously, you have to go to casting directors and
mhm.
if you want to if you want to be
Move
heard.
somewhere
But
else. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. The YouTube is a platform where you can reach people all over the world and anyone can do it. It's almost like it's painful because I see how big of an opportunity that it is, that not doing it is harder than doing it.
Yeah, I love that. Is there any video that you uploaded that you were so excited about that just flopped?
Yes. So I have a golden doodle puppy. He's with my
Oh,
parents at the moment because I'm flying to South Africa in a couple days. So he's with them being spoiled. But one video that I did early 2022 before moving to Mexico was my golden doodle chooses where I live next. And I truly had 5 locations. I mean, Guatemala, I was going to go down to Buenos Aires, potentially. There were a few of them, and I was going to live there for 4 months. And I played a series of games with this puppy, and he would be like crossing off and narrowing down to finally decide where it was that I would move to. I had so much fun doing it. He was so cute, and I thought it was a cool concept. A different take on those people that would like throw a dart at a map and then
mhm.
travel there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, the video flopped. It didn't do well. It still doesn't do well to this day. I can see why. It's completely different from anything on my channel. It's much longer than my
Hmm.
other videos, but I just had so much fun making it. And it's one that I'll, go back, and the only video on my channel I will watch and just laugh and smile
Oh,
seeing. So I thought that one was going to do well, but I can definitely see why it doesn't. And it
yeah.
goes against, again, all those analytics that I was focusing on.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
But it was
It's
fun.
like a passion project. It's fun. And now you have this really fun, like, memory with your dog and it's recorded. So, uh,
Yes.
what is the biggest opportunity you got as a result of being a YouTube creator?
Oh my gosh, there's been so many. I feel like any job opportunity or connection that I've made in the past 3 years has somehow been from YouTube.
Mhm.
I've had some great travel experiences. I had once a fully paid month living in Bali where I was able to teach at one of the co working spaces too. So
Oh,
I love teaching. I love teaching and sharing, and I live there. But then more recently, one that is just tying up now was a collaboration with Google, which has
mhm.
been really cool. So Google's Area 120 is where they test new services and products before they put them out on the market. So I've been working with them on dubbing my YouTube content uh, into other languages. So I've been dubbing behind the scenes using their tool that's going to launch on YouTube to the public later this year, hopefully, if everything goes through, and being able to get a whole backlog of Spanish content, which I can hopefully dub into other languages using their tool in the future. And it was just cool to work with a company like Google,
Yeah.
one of the biggest companies in the world, and I'll be going to their not their headquarters, but to an event by them because of this collaboration in the next month as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
that one's pretty cool.
Where's the event?
In LA.
Oh, very cool. Well, that's fun. Um, what would you say has kept you going over the last, several years as a creator?
Gaining momentum
Yeah.
was was a big one. Getting that first $100 back in 2019 from that video and getting monetized, that was fantastic. And still the most important $100 I've ever earned in my life. But being able to see that this could more than replace my full time income and I could be doing it completely on my own terms has kept me going. And I have a few things with my life that I just want. So when I think of my ideal life, I will never wake up to an alarm clock. I wake up early naturally, but I never want to feel like I have to get up and get ready and go to work and be here at this time and leave here at this time. It's more so I want to just wake up on my own. And if today I really feel like diving into my thumbnails and working on that, I'll do that. If I really feel like filming today, I'll do that. I know that all these different things have to be done, but I want to do them when I'm motivated to do them. And I know you won't always be motivated, but it's that idea of having this freedom and being able to earn money for myself and being able to decide who it is that I work with and what type of content that I put out and having a platform to just test more things. With that idea of YouTube being an experiment, I love that I can test different affiliate links. I can test working with different partners. I can test different collaborations, and seeing that some may not grow the channel as much as others did. Some may not earn as much as others did, but all of them are moving me forward in some ways. So it's just fun now that it's gotten to this point where I have that audience and can do that.
Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. There's so much opportunity with YouTube. What is the number one piece of advice you would tell somebody who is just starting out on their YouTube channel?
Don't worry about the banner, the editing. You don't even need to know what your niche is right now. Just figure out something that you actually care about, that you could see yourself talking about 5 years from now and start creating content on it. It doesn't have to be so narrow. You can look at your analytics later. You can see what it is that you really enjoy doing. You can see what it is that your audience enjoys watching. And the cool thing is that there's, I don't know, over, I think it's 2 point something billion people on YouTube, that you doing a video in the style that you enjoy on a topic that you enjoy is going to reach an audience. It can be 0.01 of that, and it's still reaching a huge, huge audience. So do what you want to do. Don't focus on any of the fancy things that go into it. Just post that video once a week or once every 2 weeks, once every 2 days, whatever schedule it is that you can stick to, and treat it like it's a job. Know that that is a non negotiable.
I love that. I love that. Such good advice. Well, Megan, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It was such a pleasure hearing you and all of your strategy. I love what you said about being ruthless with brands. I just feel like more and more, the more creators that do that, you're actually helping the industry as a whole, right?
Mhm.
And so the more people that really have that mindset that my time is truly valuable, that I am creating something of value for these brands, all the work that goes into YouTube, all the work that goes into filming and coming up with the topic and the title and the research and all that, it's worth something. And so I love that
Mhm.
you stood your ground and that you have been doing that, and you just shared kind of how you did that with our viewers and listeners. I think it's such a good message. So for people that are not familiar with you and your channel and they want to check you out, where can they find you?
Well, as you now know, my website is terrible. I shut my Patreon down. I'm barely on Instagram. So definitely head to YouTube and you can find me under Portable Professional.
I love that. That's such a cute name too. Well, Megan, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. This was great, Erica.
Bye.
Bye.